Hi everyone, it's Chukuma from Mastermind Automobile Solutions. Today we want to talk about the oil pressure light in your car. You know, that light, that sign that shows in your car, whether it's the fault, whether it stays illuminated. We're going to explain some of these things. Kindly like our video, subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, and then click the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we upload a video. So what does the notification or the icon oil pressure light, what does it mean? It's an icon that comes up in your dashboard when you turn on the ignition. Of course, it will come with the other icons, but it's supposed to go off immediately the engine is running. It's an abnormality if that icon is still there while the engine is running. So if you're driving your car, for example, and that icon comes up, it's very unwise, it's dangerous to just continue to drive, because it may be something very simple that you can handle, like topping up the oil, or something really difficult like the oil pump going bad, or the filters not properly connected, or even worse, the engine almost locking up. So it's important to be careful, to pause for a while once you notice this light as you drive. So what are the things or what are the steps to take when you notice this light coming up? This light means that the engine is not getting enough oil to the car. So if there's a problem, there's a bridge in the oil pressure. So some cars you're going to see oil pressure too low. Some cars you simply see oil, O-I-L, written on the dashboard. And then this light will be blinking continuously, while on some other cars it will just stay on. So what are the first things to do when you notice this problem? The first thing to do will be to pull over. Once you pull the car to the side to a safe place, the next thing you should do is to leave 1 to 2 minutes for the oil to settle. Then you need to open the engine and go and pull out the dipstick so that you can actually see the oil level in the car. You should see where the oil is. Now, if the oil is at a good level and if the oil is clean, anyway, provided it's at a good level, then it's manageable to where you can fix. If it's at a good level and you're not hearing grinding noises and irregular sounds, yes, you can manage it to a mechanic's place. If you check the oil and it's really low, what you can do is hope you have a spare oil or you can get one easily where you are, so that you can top off. You top it up to the level where it should be, you know, the dipstick level it should be, and then drive to your mechanic's place or call your mechanic to come and pick up the car so that more investigations can be done. What you don't want to do is to keep racing with a car that has this fault or this light, because it's going to ruin things for you. So what we usually do when we have those kind of problems is we check the dipstick immediately. If the oil is dirty, if the oil is at a low level, the first thing we'll do is to do an oil and filter change. Now, in some modern cars, if you use the oils that were not recommended for that engine, they can trigger that light. They can have that light on, it can be triggered. So if you have that light triggered, what it means is that it's not accepting the oil you're using, it's not giving it enough pressure. So you need to change the oil and put in recommended oil, quality oil, as well as OEM filter. We've had some cars, especially with American cars, come in with that kind of light and that kind of problem. Simply changing the oil to the recommended OEM oil and filter solve the problem in some of these cars. You know, you can nip this in the bud before it goes to another thing. So if you change the oil, change the filter, you know, one thing people also underrate is the filter quality. Some people emphasize, okay, they now know we now need to use good oils. But the filters, they just get the cheapest thing they can get. The oil filter is really important in a car because it does a lot of functions. It filters the engine. It helps things. It helps lubrication of the engine, and it makes the engine last really long. So if you're using your oil filter, or if you're buying an oil filter, you must use a high quality oil filter, because your oil filter does a lot of work on the engine. So that is why at MAS, we don't joke with the oil filters we use. We ensure that we use quality OEM filters, and we insist that we use, you know, these filters on our cars, because we know how important these filters are to the car. So once we put fresh oil, recommended oil in the car, and we put OEM filters in the car, If the problem doesn't go away, the next thing we're looking at is the oil pressure sensor. There's a sensor that works with this oil pressure. It's around the filter area. So you're going to look at that sensor. If the sensor is faulty, if the connections to it, maybe the circuit is also faulty, you can have that fault triggered. You can have those kind of problems. You can deal with issues like that if the oils are faulty. So it's important that we check that sensor as well. Maybe swap it out with another car zone if it's available, so that you see what the difference is like in that car. Then you'll be able to correct things from there, because that sensor is usually cheap. It's not so expensive. So even changing it out by yourself solves a lot of problems. So you would want to change it. You want to see what, change it out and see. Usually it can give you good results. Now, if you've changed oil, changed filters, and the oil pressure sign is still there, even after changing the sensor, remember that what we're trying to do, or what we usually do, is to start from the little things and go up. So it's elimination method, basically, to rid yourself of this problem, this light that is on your dashboard constantly. So where these three things have been done, oil, filter, and the sensor itself, including the connections, the circuits to it, have been looked at, and everything is well, and that light is still on your dashboard, the next thing you have to do is to pay attention to the sound of the engine. You may be dealing with a failed or failing oil pump. So when it gets to that serious level, the oil pump level, what do you have to do? You have to either replace the oil pump, or you have to look at the internals of that engine, because whatever wears out the oil pump in an engine, usually it may trigger other problems inside. So that engine may have to come down, so that you look at the internals to change the oil pump in the car. So you can see that dealing with these lights can be very simple and can be complicated as well. It can be something as simple as your oil filter, the quality of the oil used, or it can be something serious like changing your oil pumps, or needing to repair the engine, to have a look at the internals of the engine. And in some cases, that engine needs to be replaced. To have lasting peace, to solve the problem fully, you would need to replace that engine. So depending on what the problem is, you need to work your way up. And that is how we deal with these problems. So how do you avoid this oil pressure fault appearing on your car? Simply change your oil whenever, change your oil regularly, use quality oil, use quality filters. I've seen from my experience with my clients, because we are doing a lot of quality oil changes and filters for them, most of our clients never have to deal with these problems. These problems is common with people who neglect the engine service, who don't use quality oil, who buy any filter they can, or the cheapest one they can find. So if you do your basic engine service, use quality oil, use quality filter, I can tell you that most of the time, 90% of the time, you won't deal with this problem, the oil pressure problems. And you can't joke with these problems, because if it's failing, the engine can fail. The price of engines these days is no more something to joke with. So you have to take this thing very serious. I hope we've been of help with this video. Kindly like our video, subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, click the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.